Is it worth it to switch from a Bushnell Launch Pro or GC3 to a GCQuad? I'm a golf simulator sicko, and I made the jump to a GCQuad about a year ago. And in this video, I'm gonna tell you my thoughts after making that switch. If you watch this channel, you probably know that I'm a huge fan of Foresight launch monitors and the Bushnell Launch Pro. And just so you know, we'll get this out of the way, the Launch Pro and the Foresight GC3 are the same launch monitor, except for different branding and different pricing. So whenever I say one or the other in this video, I might be using them interchangeably. Just know they're the same thing unless I'm talking about price. So whenever I got my Launch Pro, I immediately fell in love with it. It was so accurate, even with the smallest chip, putt, and even a miss hit, the ball just did exactly what I thought it would do every single time. Then I started wondering, well, if the Launch Pro is so good, what is the top of the line launch monitor like, the GCQuad? The GCQuad is pretty much known as one of the two best launch monitors on the planet, especially for indoor simulator use. It's used by pretty much half the PGA Tour. It's as good as it gets. So I wanted to know if I was missing out on something, if there was something better than the Launch Pro. And about this time last year, Foresight offered a trade-in program, and they offered me $4,000 trade-in credit for my Launch Pro. That was $500 more than I paid for it. I knew I was never gonna get that opportunity again, most likely, so I went ahead and jumped on the trade-in, shipped off my baby to Foresight, and waited for my GCQuad to come back. Now at this point, I've had my GCQuad for almost a year now, and here are some of the differences between the Quad, the Launch Pro, and what I like about it. Number one is the display on the GCQuad, I feel like is much more usable. It's larger, it's just easier to see the numbers. On the Launch Pro, the display is a little bit smaller, the numbers are kind of more squished together. To be honest, it was just hard to pick what to look at with my eyes, and so I found myself with the Launch Pro looking at all my data on my impact screen and never really even looking down at the display. It's the opposite with the GCQuad, because no matter what software I'm using, if I'm in GS Pro or if I'm in FSX, you know, that data displays in different places on the screen, but it's always the same on my Quad. So a lot of times I just find myself looking at the Quad for the numbers rather than on the screen. That is kind of a really nice surprise. The second thing is the face impact location displaying actually on the screen of the Quad. So I knew that the Quad provided that data and the Launch Pro did not, but I was not really aware that it would show me a little graphical representation of the club face on the Quad's display and the impact location. So that has been really cool to just look down and see my face impact data on the launch monitor itself instead of looking for it in the software. You get a little bit better of a precise location in the software, even GS Pro or FSX, because it can show you a bigger graphic, but I think it's just really cool that it shows it on the launch monitor itself. Now, the third thing that I love about the GCQuad is its super large hitting zone, which is 14 inches by 18 inches. That is also not something that I expected to like so much, but I find that it's actually kind of super luxurious, that I can just kind of throw the ball anywhere in this large area and not worry about trying to fit it in a tiny window. So for comparison, hitting zone of the Launch Pro is 7 inch by 10 inch. There's nothing wrong with that. That's plenty big, but just having an oversized hitting area is kind of like having a really big parking space. Much more casual to just drop a ball down and hit. The downside of that is that my SIGPRO Softy mat has a 12 by 28 inch hitting strip, so I don't get to use like that full GCQuad hitting zone. But it does come in handy because I can place the golf ball off of the hitting strip and putt on the mat side, which gives me like a smoother surface to putt on. Probably doesn't make a big difference, but that's something that I like doing now. And if you have a larger hitting strip or hitting mat, you can really take advantage of this space. The other thing that that larger hitting zone helps with is when you're using it outdoors. I do not use my launch monitors outdoors a ton, very little actually. I'd like to change that coming this year. But when you're outdoors and you're hitting on real grass, you're taking divots, the larger hitting zone with the GCQuad means that you you can hit more balls without having to reposition the quad because you know, your divot pattern gets too big. So 7" by 10", you know, you may have to kind of move the Launch Pro back or to the side to kind of get fresh grass with less balls. So that's a benefit if you are considering using it outdoors a lot. Now, there are definitely other things that are different from the quads of the Launch Pro that are a benefit, but I just didn't find them super impactful like I did those 3 things that I just mentioned. I know that I'm getting extra data like face to path, lie angle, closure rate. I definitely do look at that stuff, maybe not closure rate, but I'm glad I have it, but it just didn't make a huge impact to the experience, in my opinion. The other thing I want to mention is that the Launch Pro has what I would call like network mode for Wi-Fi. So you can actually enter in your Wi-Fi credentials in the launch monitor, in the Launch Pro, and on startup, it will automatically connect to your Wi-Fi network. The GCQuad doesn't have that feature, probably because it's an older launch monitor. So if you want to use Wi-Fi with the quad, you have to make a direct connection. So in my case, I go to my laptop, I look at my Wi-Fi networks, I see the GCQuad there, and I connect. I do that every time because I use Wi-Fi. So that's just something that I wanted to mention as one of the other differences. Another difference is that the GCQuad has the option to add on what they call essential putting analysis. And so that add-on is $2,500, and it gives you additional data that's specific to putting, you know, kind of like skid distance, so the amount that the ball skids before it starts its forward roll. You can also get face impact location on the putter itself, lie angle on the putter, all these things that can be a big benefit. I did not choose to get that add-on for my quad. It came with a 30-day free trial of the essential putting analysis, and I enjoyed playing around with it. But for $2,500, I just could not justify needing that extra data. And even if you don't get the essential putting analysis, it works for simulation putting just fine, and you can actually still put a single sticker on the top center of the putter face, and you can get some basic putting data like club path and so on. So that's another option that you have with the GCQuad that you won't have with the Launch Pro or GC3. So what did I not like about the GCQuad compared to my Launch Pro? The biggest thing is the stickers. They call them fiducials, but the stickers that you have to place on the club face to actually get any of the club data. With the Launch Pro, it does not provide as much club data as the GCQuad, and you are only required to put a single sticker at the top center of the club face. Looks like this. Just right there, top center. That's all you need for the Launch Pro to provide that club data. Now you can do the single sticker with the GCQuad, and it will give you the same club data that you would get with the Launch Pro. But if you want any of those additional data points, including face impact location, you need to use 4 fiducials on the club face to get that data. And so this is what that looks like. So you can see you've got 2 in the vertical center and then 2 at the top and bottom of the toe side. And that's what it uses to give you that extra data. Now, before I switched to the GCQuad, I knew that I would need those extra stickers. What I didn't really realize is that because the Launch Pro only uses a single sticker at the top center, it's really out of the way, and that sticker stayed on there forever. I mean, I never had any problems with the single sticker at the top coming off. But whenever I went to the quad with the 4 stickers, I found that I was having to replace those all the time. Probably because I'm hitting the ball all over the face and those get in the way a lot more, but also because whenever I use my clubs outside, there's a lot more dirt and grass getting into those lower stickers than just that one at the top center of the club face that's really out of the way. And so when that happens, they'll kind of get mashed up. They'll look like this one. I don't know if you'll be able to see this very well, but like some of these are kind of mashed in. That probably won't work. And what happens whenever stickers stop working or they kind of get too mashed up for the quad to read, it just basically turns it into 1-dot mode, and you only get the data that you would with the Launch Pro. So you'll have to look at it and find the one that's kind of messed up and replace that. So because of that and having to replace them pretty often, a lot of my clubs, I just still use the single dot and I only get that limited club data, which kind of defeats the purpose of having a GCQuad. I kind of try to put 4 stickers on my important irons, and a lot of them I'll just put a single sticker on. The fairway woods and the driver, stickers are no problem. Those things stay on forever. But if I'm being lazy and not replacing one that's messed up, or I just put a single sticker on the one club, it kind of defeats the purpose. That's kind of a bummer. The good thing is the Launch Pro comes with one of these fiducial dispensers. There's an entire roll of stickers in this, and I hope that I never run out, but you should have plenty. So, you know, it is what it is, I guess. So the final thing that I don't really like about the GCQuad is obviously the price. If you're comparing the price of the GCQuad with club data to the GC3, you're looking at more than double the cost. And like I've mentioned, and if you saw in my Eye Mini versus Launch Pro video, I found pretty much no difference in accuracy between the Launch Pro and the GCQuad. So you're paying for those additional data points and the option to add on the essential putting analysis. You also get a 2-year warranty with the GCQuad compared to 1 year with the Launch Pro or GC3. So that's about it, but you're paying more than double the price. That is a hard pill to swallow. I think it would be a different story if you were paying, you know, maybe like 30% more or 50% more, but they're able to get it, so good for them. But also seeing that the Launch Pro is that close of an experience to the GCQuad made me really realize how good of a value the Launch Pro is, and even the GC3. I mean, they are amazing launch monitors that are, I guess, aimed more on the consumer level than the GCQuad. So after using the GCQuad for just under a year, this is what I would tell you. I would recommend the GCQuad for those that are using it in a professional setting or purpose. So that would be club fitters, teaching pros, and obviously tour pros. If you are making an income using a launch monitor, I could see justifying paying that price. If you're the average golfer, I feel like you can get a lot more value for your money with a Launch Pro, even a GC3, but I think you really would get the most out of the extra features if you're a professional user. And those professional users are probably expected to use that top of the line caliber launch monitor. That said, if you've got the money and you just want the best of the best, by all means go for it. I think there's a lot of those guys out there, golf simulators, sickos like myself, more power to you. So if you're trying to decide if you want to upgrade to the GCQuad, I hope this video was helpful to you. Feel free to leave me any questions in the comments. I'll try to answer them as best as I can. And if you're in the middle or in the planning stages of putting a simulator in your house, please check out the links below to Carl's Place and the Indoor Golf Shop. Those guys have been great partners for me, and you can get a great kind of all-in-one package or use the Golf Simulator Builder tool to put together your own kind of custom package. I highly recommend both of them. And if you have any questions about that as well, feel free to contact me. Hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.